Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today we're going to talk about the Cobb County Jane Doe of 1984. She was just identified as that of 20-year-old Veronica Jane Miller. Maisie, you want to say hi? So let's get into it, shall we? Back on May 10th of 1984, wow, that's so weird. But back on May 10th of 1984, there was remains of an individual that was found in the wooded area near the Chattahoochee River in southwestern Cobb County, Georgia. You see, there was a man walking by, as there always is, somebody walking by and sees these remains just out of nowhere, you know. On the edge of his property, he found the skeletal remains of this individual. There was law enforcement that was contacted, they responded, and they investigated the area where the remains were in the surrounding area. The remains appeared to be partially clothed, and this woman seemed to have brown hair. This was indeed female in origin, and they distinguished that she was between 18 and 25. She was about 5 feet to 5'4" in height, and they thought she weighed about 105 to 115 pounds. During some point of this woman's life, she had reconstructive surgery on the right side of her face. There was a repair due to a fracture of the maxilla, and her orbital bone, so right here, was crushed. I know somebody that this happened to, and they actually have a steel plate from the side of their nose that goes all the way up into their forehead because their baby daddy beat the crap out of them. She literally couldn't see out of her bruised eye for like 3 months. It was wild. I feel so bad for her. But anywho, completely besides the point. And this female also had metal pins in her left ankle. The medical examiner for Cobb County distinguished or determined that this Jane Doe died at least 3 months prior to her being found. This woman had a auburn wig on, so it was like a reddish brown color, but they then determined it was synthetic hair. Several pieces of clothing were found on her, and it included a light blue t-shirt that had a Playboy bunny on the front, kind of a logo. They also found a pair of blue jeans and a single light-colored knee-high sock with blue and brown stripes on it. They found 2 size 8 boots. They were light-colored, they were Western style, and they had like a fleece lining on the inside, so it was something you would wear outside when it was colder. Also, she had a blouse that had ruffles on it on the sleeves, and it was kind of like a Western style. So, ruffled sleeves, long sleeves, I would imagine had some type of a detailing on it, but doesn't really deduce that. There was also a corduroy coat that said Riches on it, or was a Riches brand on it, and this was a men's brown corduroy coat, a work shirt with a name patch that read George on it, and the company name, which was Doug Hyde Unlimited. In the pocket of the shirt, they found Campbell Light cigarettes. Also, there was a small manila envelope that was a 2x1, and it contained 2 hand-rolled cigarettes. There wasn't any jewelry, no belongings, none of that. Nothing else at the scene, just this female, her remains, and all these clothes. That's it. Always the strangest things. It's really cool to see exactly what these John and Jane Does had at the crime scenes, because they don't always talk about everything that's found. And where she has all of this, that's amazing, and I'm actually really surprised it took this long to identify her. It was concluded that the 2 hand-rolled cigarettes were possibly marijuana in the envelope. So, I mean, kind of makes sense. Especially if you have your own pack of Camels, then you got the manila envelope. Kind of makes sense. But, anywho, completely besides the point. They also suspected that she potentially was a prostitute and that she may have been a victim of the serial killer Samuel Little. He is one man I haven't covered on this channel, and he is... Yes, it would take me a long time to be able to get the courage to talk about that man. Yeah. There's some serial killers that really just like grinds my gourds, and he's one of them. He's like, you know how there's some maybe it's just me that feels this way. There are some people in the crime world where you see their face and you can't unsee their face because it irritates your brain to the point where you just like, you can't fathom the way that they look and they creep you out so hard. Samuel Little and Dean Corll. Those are two that I cannot unsee their faces. And I've done a video on Dean Corll, and he literally, like, I'm disgusted by this man. I'm also severely disgusted by Samuel Little. But anywho, besides the point, let's get back to this, shall we? But yeah, they thought she was a possible victim of Samuel Little, but, you know. Her case was re-examined back in 2019, and during this new investigation, they found several pieces of evidence, including other items of clothing. They discovered that they've gone missing. As anything in the true crime world, everything goes missing. Everything. Because nothing is cataloged correctly. You think that we would get our shit together, but no. Oh no, it's still a problem. Still a problem. Yes. Absolute problem. Well, her case was also featured on the a podcast, which is True Crime Pie or True Crime PI, so Private Investigation Podcast. This was back in 2020. This is hosted by Dana Pohl. Pohl was also contacted by a woman who believed that she was also the half-sister of a woman who was missing, Veronica Miller. Veronica Miller is obviously somebody that had gone missing. I can give you the exact time she went missing. She was 20 years old, when she went missing. She was born back on November 10th of 1963. And it was determined after they, exhumed her, did the whole genetic testings that she, in fact, this Jane Doe was that of 20-year-old Veronica Miller. Let's see. Let me give you some more exact details. It is believed that she was killed and that this is an active homicide, like we know already, due to, she was found that, yes, more than likely it's either a suicide or it's homicide. But it is believed that this is a homicide at this time. Her case was entered into NamUs in 2012. And her case number is UP10724 if you want to look that up. And NamUs is a National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. Let me see if I can pull up her. Not that one. Let's see. Doe Network. There it is. Sometimes the Doe Network has different information than all of the other pages. I first stumbled upon this case on DNA Solves. DNA Solves is a great platform. If you've never checked it out, I highly suggest you do that. So, estimated time of death, weeks prior or 3 months prior, could have been as early as 1983. So it could have been 6 months before they found her. It all depends on the decomp on the body. It doesn't also say the exact decomp of the body, just that she was found 10 feet off of Nichols Drive near Riverview Road, which is near the Chattahoochee River. Let's see. Owner of the property discovered the body lying in a bed of pine, straw, and briars had grown partially over the body. So she had been there for quite some time. This was ruled a homicide. There we go. Yeah, there's no other leads. Sorry if you can hear my children in the background. They're going wild with each other. Funny the thing with kids and other thing. Veronica Jane Miller went missing from Mableton, Georgia. There is not an actual year in which it shows that she went missing. I believe that that is all being withheld for just the case in itself and for her family as well. But anywho, that is the identification of the Cobb County Jane Doe, who is 20-year-old Veronica Miller. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, everyone.